All right.
All right, so welcome everyone to the Right Brain Show. And here, Doc and me are ready for another episode of the things that you've been hearing lately. These conversations about two right brainers talking about all these different topics, but we have a great topic today for you. We have the very inspiring thing about to talk about because right now there's a lot of changes in the world. A lot of people have changed, and we would want to talk about purpose, life purpose, and life transformation. So when you set up your life purpose and your life transformation, what are the things that are coming up? Transitions, changes, decisions. What are the things that you're going to do to make decisions to change that life transformation? Can you hear me? It sounds like a little choppy. You're frozen as well.
Yeah, you went out for a second, but you came right back in, and your sentence came through. So everything came through. So yeah, I could hear you. And yeah, what are the changes? What are the changes? What are Say that again. Say it again. What are we talking about again? Just to make sure
Talking
they
about
got it.
so we're talking about life purpose and life transformation. Like, what are the things that you're doing now that you're transforming your life? Because things have been changing for the past 2 years in the whole world, and a lot of people have made changes in their life, and I've made it myself like twice and three times and four times, I think, in the past 2 years. A lot of changes that I've
I
been
think we
doing.
all have, right?
Yes, and we because we have been reevaluating our decisions, our life, where are we standing, how do we interact with the world now, how do we monetize what we had before, what are the values that we had before that are working now, that they're not working now, what are the things that people are valuing now that weren't valuing before, like communities are getting together that in different way than before. And we were talking about the other day about how the cities are also interacting in a different way because they haven't been socially interacting. So they've been cooped up, they've been isolated a little bit. So then things are different, the kind of activities. So everything changes. So what is the new life purpose that you have now? Everybody's questioning what was I doing? Like when I'm at home isolated, I'm doing something. Maybe I need to do something else. Maybe I want to change my life. Maybe I want to take sometimes a lot of deaths, a lot of sickness, a lot of changes around with family and friends, a lot of judgment as well, a lot of even political changes everywhere right now in the world. We're not even going to talk about that, but there's a lot of stuff going on. So it makes you question about your life, makes you question about your purpose, makes you question about the transitions you're going to make, makes you questions about the transformations that you want to do in the future. But also, most of all, it makes you make decisions, and those decisions have a plan, have a vision, have a step, and have some action items. And then you have to prioritize, you have to research, you have to talk, you have to communicate, you have to share. And what if you don't share? What if it's something you don't want to share? So it's happened to me. So I would say there's a lot of things, and for that transition and for that life purpose, new purpose definition, your decisions are the most important thing. So we wanted to talk about bottom line, how are you doing this? How are you making those decisions? What are the steps? What are the processes that you're going to follow? And what are the things that we have been done for our lives that have worked? And also the things that have not worked so that you guys can learn from the mistakes, because people that learn from the mistakes are geniuses. So other people's mistakes. So yeah, that's it. That's
I
it.
think And I think, for people to understand what Neni means when she says transitioning and consistently, this stemmed from a conversation that we were having earlier. While Neni is in transition right now in her life, she's making some changes. And so while she's making those changes, she saw some things and noticed some things that, you know, she might want to, let's say, get rid of, but now might keep. And so this conversation kind of changed around to see how when we move places or when we change our station in life, when we move through our journey, how certain things may become more useful later in life, and how they were useful earlier in life. And so we may use things again, and how we may transition our life, and what kind of obstacles we may face, and how we can go to that toolbox and pull out tools that we already have acquired to master those obstacles. So, and especially this part about isolation, I thought that was a good part when we went, their minds because of being in isolation, how isolation has affected us, how isolation has caused us not to even be able to have small talk in some cases, or some people don't even want small talk in some cases. And I know in a lot of situations, people may not have small talk at all. However, it's become something to be necessary in some relationships to kind of gauge a temperature of what's going on in our world, because we all have a lot on our minds now. We all have a lot on our hearts now. And so how are we dealing with those things in transition? And I think that's an important part about being right brained mostly, and being left brained too, because I think a lot of left brainers plan everything out down to a science. And so that flexibility to change so much is not so easy for them,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we as
it,
right brainers
yeah.
are
I
more
think the artists,
flexible
I
at
think the
changing it and jumping around.
yeah, I think the artist's way said, let the magic happen. Like it was maybe that was not that book, but there's another. I don't remember which one it was. The book that I was reading, maybe one of those, like similar to the artist's way, that let the magic come through. Let space for magic happen. So if but that space is needed, you can plan, you can do all the different things millimetrically
Yes.
planned, but you have to allow that space to allow some magic, some flexibility, something spontaneous, something random to happen. Go ahead. Can't hear you. Frozen. Yes, so it's really important to allow that magic. And
Indeed, indeed. And if we don't, and I talk, there's a little delay. So there's a little about 3 second delay we have. Yeah. So no worries, no worries. But yeah, I talk about that all the time, having that space, having that like analysis paralysis from sitting and planning. And while planning and sitting and waiting too much, they're missing out on their opportunity to really connect with people. And that's something that left brainers do. And we as right brainers, we may not plan as much. However, we jump out there and we start pitching and giving information instead of just giving that information and planning out how we give that information. Sometimes we do it off the edge of our seats, or off the cuff, as I would say. And sometimes off the cuff doesn't give people the right information to go the right way, especially if they're left brainers and they're waiting for the right message. Three, I talk about this sometimes too. Three